Welcome back, everybody, to this week's episode of the DCL Duo podcast, brought to you by My Path Unwinding Travel. And got a review, got a listener review, Sam. Listener review. We need like intro music, like here's the review. The review is. I'm gonna work on that. All right, but you won't hear me.
Apparently, you just came up with a jingle on the fly. I kind of like that. I think we might have to use. You're gonna have to sing that every time now.
Yeah, there we go. No, I'm not singing it every time. We will record it and play it, but we're not singing it every time. All right. This review comes from Kat Urban, who writes, "A great cruising podcast, ! The DCL Duo podcast delivers information and entertainment. Sam and Brian are great hosts who keep things light, but still deliver lots of different perspectives. I appreciate that they bring on guests to talk about other cruise lines and compare their experiences to DCL. Definitely a must listen. Keep up the good work." Well, thank you, Kat Urban. Your review helps motivate us to keep up the work. So thank you for sending us that review. We really appreciate it. And I was talking to somebody earlier this week, and I wanted to highlight, the guest aspect of this show. Our show does not happen without great guests. We've got a great guest today, and we try to make this show not about us, but about our guests. So, I think there's lots of creators out there that are just the two of them talking to you all the time, or one of them, whatever, all about stuff. We prefer to bring on real people to talk about the cruising experience. So, guests are an important part of our show. If you want to be a guest on the show, you just have to reach out, like Shelly, our guest today, did. And we're happy to have new cruisers, new guests, new experiences on the show. So if you like the show, please remember the easiest way to help us out. Hit those 5 stars over on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a written review, and we will read it on one of our episodes at the top of the show, as we did with this one. Head over there, hit those 5 stars. We really appreciate it. Sam.
Yes, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. Right?
That's right. Not enough of you are watching we record every episode now, and we put it over on YouTube. And so if you want to see the magic happen, the behind the scenes, what is Brian wearing today?
Right, you can see my recording studio. Brian's got a fake background, but I have my, you can see my popcorn buckets. You can see my towel animals.
I have a fake background because you don't want to see the mess of our bedroom behind me. So anyway,
true. With
that, Sam, I've already previewed. We've got Shelly as a guest coming on, but why don't you welcome her on and let folks know what we're going to be talking about?
Yes, I'm super excited to welcome Shelly, first-time guest, first-time cruiser to the show. She reached out to us. She's got some really fun stuff to talk about today. Her first time cruising. We're going to talk about motion sickness. We're going to talk about sailing with virtual strangers, but I'm super excited to welcome Shelly to the show. Welcome, Shelly.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you. Your email was kind of mind-blowing to me when you reached out to us to be on the show, because you hadn't sailed before and you decided your first time sailing was going to be with a bunch of people you met on a Facebook group. And I was like, that's amazing and awesome. We have met people and become friends with people through Facebook and obviously through our podcast in particular. But I don't know that the first time that I've met them, that I've shared a room with them. So that's an interesting experience. But before we dive into talking about your cruise and that experience, we gotta hear your Disney creds, your Disney background. As I mentioned, this is your first cruise ever on any cruise line that we're going to talk about today. But yeah, tell us where your love of Disney came from, what your history with Disney is.
Sure. So I grew up in Oklahoma. And we didn't travel a lot, but I did go to Disney World once as a kid, around 6, and then 2 separate experiences as an adult. Still single, no kids of my own, but I did do that. And then it wasn't until that I got married and had kids that we decided to visit Disney World again with my family for the first time. So we stayed there and thought it was going to be a one and done, one of those big one and done trips. And we loved it. And I loved it especially and really wanted to go back. So that was 2018. And my kids were pretty little, age 4, 3, and 1, I think they were. And about a year later, we joined DVC, Disney Vacation Club. So that's how my kind of really intense love for Disney World and Disney began.
And now, where do you guys own at DVC?
So we bought Saratoga, then Bay Lake, and then we bought Beach Club and then Boulder Ridge, but they're small contracts.
But they're all in Florida. You bought all Florida. Well, you live
Yeah.
on the East Coast now.
So now, yes, now I live in Connecticut. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Aulani wouldn't really make sense, and even the hotels at Disneyland wouldn't make a whole lot of sense unless you were taking a lot of trips to California. But yeah, I mean, like us, you went full force in. We have, I think, at 4 different resorts as well. Although we only have one East Coast. We only have Riviera, and the rest of ours are West Coast or Aulani. So,
Which makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Well, tell us, like, what made you decide to try out the cruise line? You mentioned, and I mentioned at the top of the show, that you get motion sick, and so, like, why would you decide if you're somebody who gets severe motion sickness? Like, why a cruise? Like, why even dip your toe?
So for years I've avoided it. It didn't even cross my mind. Didn't consider it. And then through this group that I'm in, which is called DVC Clubhouse, it's a wonderful group of DVC members and people interested in DVC. Every now and then people would talk about their cruise they went on. They do, they go to Disney World first, stay at the resort, and then take the transfer. And little by little, I just got really curious about it. And then a few of the friends that I've made there are really into cruising. And so by paying attention to their stories and their trip reports, I thought maybe I could do it. And then the other thing that really gave me confidence to give it a try was once like Guardians of the Galaxy came out, and I'm a big coaster fan. I'm like, I have to find a way to make this work. So I started trying like layering different, over the counter meds and things like that to see if I could survive Guardians. And I did. And I was a little still spinning afterwards, but I didn't feel miserable. And I went on it multiple times in a day, once with my son. And then also Universal has some crazy rides that I've been able to ride with my little cocktail.
Well, I'm curious to know what the cocktail is, but I also am curious, like, once you experienced a cruise, for me, it doesn't compare to it doesn't compare to Guardians, right? Like, I think now, to be fair, the only ride I've ever gotten even close to motion sick on, well, there's 2, is Mission Space on whatever side is the most intense, which I will never, ever,
Oh,
ever
I will never do
ride
that
again.
again.
And then
It's
Hulk.
so nauseating.
Hulk at Universal has pushed me pretty close to the edge at times, but as you compare the two experiences, like riding Guardians, which I think is a place where people with motion sickness really do struggle, and getting on a cruise ship, did you find the experiences comparable in terms of the level of kind of motion sickness, or did you think, this is a lot easier?
So I only had a couple of moments fast forwarding during the cruise where I felt a little woozy. And oddly enough, it was always in like standing at the vanity in the bathroom. Otherwise, I was perfectly fine. Didn't notice it at all. Didn't bother me at all.
Yeah. I am someone who suffers from motion sickness. As a kid, I would get car sick in long car rides. I still can't read in the car. Like Brian always reminds me, I'm sitting in the front seat and Brian's driving and Nathan's in the back,
Sam is glued to her phone
and I'm
trying to scroll
scrolling.
and I'm like, put your phone down.
Yes, this happens like at least once a week where he like has to remind me like put your phone down, because if I'm staring at my phone reading, when I say reading, it's not reading a book, but like reading Facebook, right? The book of face, as we like to call it. I will get nauseous if I do it for more than like a couple of minutes. So he's always having to remind me. But I still suffer from motion sickness, and I am the person who I don't have to take anything to go on Guardians, but I'm always nauseous after, and I can't immediately go on another ride. Like I need at least like 20 minutes of walking, or I can wait in a longer queue for the next ride, but like I need at least like 20 minutes for my like self to sort of recalibrate. And Brian and Nathan can go on Guardians twice in a row. I cannot do that. Like I'm a one and done for like I probably could do it where I went on Guardians in the morning and then once in the evening, but I probably wouldn't even chance that because to me it's like it's a really fun ride, but it's just not worth like the nausea that comes after. I would love to know what is your cocktail, your combination of. And now, listen, people out there, we are not telling you to take this cocktail of over the counter drugs, but I am curious because different people find different things that work for them, and for some people, the patches, the acupressure bands, like blisslets, like there's all kinds of things that people use. But yeah, I'm curious, Shelly, what works or what seems to have worked for you.
So I originally got a prescription patch, the scopolamine or however you pronounce it, but I was paranoid about all the side effects. I mean, they're pretty intense, so I never used that. What I went with was Bonine, which is meclizine. I've had great success with Bonine, taken it like a few days before I know I need it and continue to take it twice a day, morning and evening. And then so that could probably work just fine, just that, but, like, I wanna be sure. So I have a roll-on, essential oil. I think it's called Vertigo Ease, and then I take ginger capsules and ginger gum, and then there's, something called MQ patches, so they're just over the counter. I don't know what they do. They have a pretty strong scent. But those feel like magic to me too, like, I add those when I fly or anything, and whatever those are in there, I should know probably, but I don't. But those really work too. And then I do have Blisslets, but I didn't take them on that cruise because they were in my owner's locker, and I didn't get my owner's locker that time, so, I do have them as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think for me, like I've never tried any of the scented stuff, but that would be I'm also real sensitive to scents. I'm like a real picky like I like Brian knows I don't those plug-in things, like that's not gonna ever be in our house. Scented candles, not in our house. Like I don't like any of that stuff. But like the ginger stuff, like when I was pregnant with Nathan, I literally was sucking on ginger candies like every single day. Like that was the only thing that like worked for me because obviously when you're pregnant, there's certain things over the counter drugs that you just can't take. And so they'll give you the prescription stuff, but that stuff's pretty strong. I have found the patches, the scopolamine, the prescription patches, I found that to work. I've only used it on one cruise because it was really rough seas. It's the one where we have video of us literally teeter tottering on the way into Nassau. It's like the craziest experience ever. I've never been on a cruise ship where we're moving like that. And the patches worked for me. But that's great that you've found something that makes you able to ride like, Guardians, Velocicoaster, right? Whatever the rides are. So that's awesome. Okay, so you had a plan going in. So you thought, okay, I can try this. Tell us like how this cruise came to fruition with these like what is it, 3 or 4 random people you met through Facebook. I'm saying random. They're not obviously now they're
Yeah,
your friends, but
right,
like
right. So I'd made friends with them through this DVC Clubhouse group and, knew they cruised, and I was turning 50 2 years ago and was thinking about cruising for that reason, and then just backed out. When it came back again, I'm like, "I think I'm really ready to try a cruise." My husband, who's very wise, he suggested I try a short cruise without the family so that he's not taking care of the 3 kids and I'm, like, curled up in the fetal position the whole trip.
well, that's actually brilliant. Like that's a really smart because if you are in a situation where you've paid for 5 people to get on a cruise, and if you're miserable, then the rest of the family, the 4 of them are maybe not as miserable as you, but not as they're still the kids are still fairly little, right? So like it's not going to be quite as fun for the rest of the family.
Exactly. So, I mean, I'm one of those people that you tell me that I can go on a trip, and I've got it booked that afternoon. So I texted this, friend of mine, Amy, and she's a travel advisor for Simply Perfect Vacations, and I knew she cruised, and we've hung out, in Disney World through this group. So we never stayed together, but so we spent some time together in the parks, and I said, "Hey, I've got this idea. My husband has this idea. What do you think? And would you ever consider going with me? Because I'm like, I didn't want to pay for one person, for two people for just me. And she was like, you don't have to ask me twice. So she was ready to go too. So so we booked a 3-night on the Fantasy, leaving at the very till. Well, actually, it's May 1st. We left May 1st of this year. And then the next thing I knew, she had asked another friend that I know as well from this group, and she joined us. So there were the three of us in a veranda room. And then two more friends she had told we were going, and they got a room as well. So there was a total of 5 of us going on a girls' cruise. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to put this out there. Get yourself a friend who will drop everything and go on a Disney trip with you, whether that's a cruise or a parks trip or a trip to Aulani or Vero Beach, whatever. Get yourself that Disney friend. Tracy, I'm thinking of you as I say that. My friend Tracy is one of those people. If you want to make a Disney trip, I know she'll drop everything and she'll be right there with you, sharing that room, splitting that
Yes,
cost, whatever.
exactly.
Yeah,
Just Forrest Gumping it to the airport with her go bag already.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
bag. I love it. I love it. Absolutely. Well, that sounds really fun. Now, the other ladies that sailed with you, other than your friend Amy, had you met them in person prior to this trip?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I had met all of them. So about once a year, they host a kind of a meetup, and at least once a year, I'll see pretty much all of them for a day or two down at Disney World. And so I had, not spent as much time with the others, but certainly were friendly with them and think they're amazing. So one of them was already had a trip scheduled to Disney World at that same time. So she just like tagged on a couple of days beforehand. And then two of them live in Florida already.
Oh, so easy for them. They just can jump on the ship. They just have to drive down to the port and jump on the ship. That's awesome. Well, tell us about what were they all folks who had cruised before, or were any of them also first time cruisers?
So one of the friends that was flying in, she was a first time cruiser. I think she might have cruised another ship, another company years earlier. But the rest, one was platinum, one was gold, and the other was silver Disney cruise.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So then you get the benefit, of course, of sailing with people who have Castaway Club status.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So I had gold and silver in my stateroom, and so that helped with boarding groups and booking Palo and things like that.
Awesome. Now, from the planning standpoint, did you take on some of the planning, or did you let Amy kind of lead the way as obviously a more experienced cruiser? So how did that work out? And did you guys have like planning meetings to talk about what you wanted to book?
So we had a couple of group texts going, and normally I'm very hands-on. I'm like love travel planning, but I kinda just left it in Amy's court, and she would ask us questions, and I'd, say yay or nay, and then that was kind of it. I even kind of avoided watching any videos for a long time, and that's how I found you guys. I started listening to podcasts, and I wanted to know a lot, but I wasn't sure how much I wanted to know about visually, like, I just kinda wanted to be surprised, but I still wanted to know, a little bit. So that's how I found your podcast and just devoured every time it said first time cruiser or fantasy. I like listened to every single one of those. And then I started listening to other ones after I exhausted those.
Nice, nice. Well, then you knew that your key card was going to be right outside your door. You knew that the boarding groups and the booking advance for your activities and your excursions would happen. All of those things. I love that. I think it's super helpful for folks out there if you are considering cruising for your first time. I think it's great to look at those first time cruiser episodes because we sort of learn through them what people don't know, right? What are the things that were like critical to your planning that you wish you knew or you did know because you listened to a particular episode? I think that's super, super helpful for folks out there. Okay, so let's talk about what was pre-booked. What all did you, Amy, and the other friends like book in advance? And were you able to get everything that at least Amy knew she wanted?
Yeah. So it was, the 3-night, as you know, is just like a blank. So yeah. So there wasn't a lot of pre booking. We all wanted Palo brunch, and thankfully we got it. and we were on we had two separate reservations at two separate times, but were able to get us all seated together. So we did that when we checked in or boarded and went to customer service for that, guest services for that. And the other two friends, they did the length of cruise rainforest pass. But I think that was all we pre-booked.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. It's only a 3-night, right? So you're going to, uh, did you go to Nassau and Castaway or just Castaway? Okay. So you had the one sea day and the one Castaway day, which is because when we say 3-night cruise, you really have like 2.5 days on the ship because your boarding day, you don't get the full day. And not everything is open even when you board. So it's a little bit different. That's why it really does go by in a blink. All right. Well, Shelly, you're traveling from Connecticut. When did you go down this is Port Canaveral, right? For the fantasy. When did you go down to Port Canaveral or the Orlando area, I should say?
So I actually went 2 days prior to boarding day. I was staying at the beach club. So we were going to use Disney transportation from the beach club. And we happened to be there on a Moonlight Magic night, and we had Moonlight Magic. Yeah. So it was a lot going on. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. It was like the night before we left. So that was fun. A little tiring, but fun.
Yeah, a late night before not that it's not early morning to get to the port, but it's not like a leisurely morning either, right? Because you're packing and making sure your luggage is ready to get picked up and then get to the bus. Well,
But, when we're used to traveling with your family and kids, but when you're by yourself, it's so
oh,
much
it's a
easier.
breeze. It's a breeze, right? You're just worried about your own luggage. You don't have to worry about like, oh, did I pack like underwear and socks for all 3 of the kids or for your husband or whatever, right? Like it's such a breeze. I feel like when you're used to traveling as a family, it's such a breeze when you travel like by yourself and all you have to worry about is yourself. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, I
Okay.
worry about you, Sam. I don't just worry about me.
I'm the one who I don't pack in like well in advance and I'm not good with lists. Brian's really much more organized than I am. For anyone who's listened to the show, I hope you've realized that by now. Like Brian is the organization behind this podcast. Like I just show up to record. And so he does all of that planning.
You do more than that. The narrative is shifting. You do more than that. But no, yeah.
But I do pack for myself and I do pack for Nathan, and that I'm always like super duper stressed because I'm like, how
And
am
I
going
just I just forget my belt everywhere we
and
go. Like,
literally,
I'm
I
always
don't
forget
can't
to
tell you
pack
how
my
many
belt.
how many times we have bought a belt in
In the
Orlando
airport.
area, or in the airport, exactly. Well, let's jump into you taking Disney transportation to the port. What time was your port arrival time, and when did you actually? Well, your port arrival time probably didn't matter, but what time did you get to the port?
We arrived at 10:45 and we boarded at straight up noon. We had boarding group 4, and I think that was probably because of the gold status, I guess.
Yeah, or platinum status, right? One of them had
Well,
platinum.
she was in a different stateroom.
Oh, okay. Yes. Then
Yeah.
that's actually really good. So it's really smart that you didn't have like silver in one room and platinum in the other. It's actually much better to have a gold in one room and platinum in the other. Even if that wasn't planned, it's always good to do that because then the higher Castaway status you can have for both rooms, the better, of course. Okay, so you get on the ship around noon. You are coming into the beautiful Disney Fantasy, the Art Deco atrium for the very first time. What did you have them announce, actually?
So I was like 3rd in line. I think I was just nervous. So I was behind them. And I think they said DVC Clubhouse. Like that was like so that's what she told them. And I mean, my cheeks, I mean, kind of like I feel now, they're just like throbbing from the grinning. I was just grinning so big. And I kept thinking, this was so surreal. Like when you think about something for so long, and it's just in your mind and then it's real, it's like not real. It's a weird surreal feeling. It really was. And just joy, just gratefulness. It was just really to be there with friends and that it happened. I was just thrilled.
Oh, I
Absolutely
love
thrilled.
that. I love that. It's like like seeing you smile here on video is just like making me smile is like infectious, right? Like I love like cuz I love that feeling. I love that feeling of getting onto the ship. It's like to me still like that joy even if like nobody's clapping, it's still like this joyful. I'm like this is the start of my vacation and my favorite type of vacation in the entire world, right? So it's just yeah, that's awesome.
And, it was really fun for my friends. My friend Amy was so excited for me too, and that was part of the joy. Like she loved, when you get to take someone to Disney World or wherever you love, and you get to take someone who hasn't done it for the first time. So she was even more excited than she normally is because she couldn't wait to see my excitement.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I feel like that's what happened to us on our first cruise because we went with a friend who's like super. I mean, it's like he had been on dozens of Disney cruises at that point, and it was the I hope that for him it was like that experience, right? Like living vicarious through us, and we've done that when we've sailed with first time cruisers and like been able to sort of see their joy and experience at that same time. It's a really fun experience. Now, did you guys have a plan for when you got on board? I know you said you guys were making you wanted to make sure that Palo brunches got linked up, and so typically speaking, that's either it depends on the ship, but it's done either at guest services or might be a specific place for dining adjustments, dining changes, whether that's main dining or adult dining. It's usually in the same place. For example, on the Wish and Treasure, it's usually in Triton's, but I always tell people check the app because that can change. But other than doing that, did you guys have a plan of attack as to like were you gonna walk around the ship and kind of get the lay of the land? Did you want to hit up cabanas or hit up sit down lunch? Like what was the plan or what did you guys end up doing?
So we had kind of chatted before, like I said, in a group text, to kind of get the vibe of to how we wanted to travel because it's a lot of different, ways that you might enjoy doing things. And so we kind of did a funny little like things you should know about me thread, and it was like silly stuff, but no, it's just knowing that if you need time alone, take it. It's no big deal. It's if you want to do something that the others don't, we just all gave ourselves permission to just do our own thing. But we also decided to do I'm not going to get the language right, but we the sat down lunch, sit down lunch. So we were in Animator's Palette, I believe. So some of them went to guest services, and I just kind of wandered around, and then we headed to lunch right after that.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, Animators is a great place to start too because you get to see all the theming right away. It's a really fun experience. We have, in fact, the last time on the Fantasy in December that we were on, we also went to sit down lunch at Animators Palette. It's I think, a great start to a cruise. Tell us, like, did you guys end up going to the sail away party? Did you just want to like explore for the day? What was sort of the vibe?
So I think we all went to the sail away party for sure. And the sail away party happened on time, but we did not sail away. I don't know if you heard this was the cruise like that was right before the transatlantic.
That's right.
Mm.
So
So
there
they
was Coast Guard testing and stuff going on. So you guys left like way later. You left at like 7 or 8
we
o'clock
left
at
in the
night or
middle of the
in
night.
the middle of the night. Oh,
Oh, wow.
wow. Wow. That's so unusual.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was odd. It was odd, just to be sitting there at the port.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like,
Didn't
it
have
was so
internet for a while.
yeah, yeah. So, you know, but everyone was like, look, it is, unexpected, but you're kind of doing the same thing you would be doing if we were out to sea. Just the view's much different.
Right, right. Those people who paid for an ocean view room are like, I have a view of the parking lot, not an ocean view room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did the sail away, and then I think we kind of started just scattering. But we're a few of us have children, and most of us have children, and we're kind of just need that relaxing time. So a lot of time was spent by the Cove bar and the Cove Cafe and on the adult decks, and that's kind of how we just meandered. I also went to the theater. I saw all 3 shows, and I think I saw the first one. I was the only one that went to the first one. It was, Aladdin. So I made sure to get to that at 6, and then we had the late dining, and so I kinda got in a pattern where I would go to the show, then go change for dinner, and then we would either usually meet up at a lounge, and then go to dinner together. Yeah, in between, it was just everybody was just kind of doing their own thing.
That's awesome. I honestly think that that's the perfect way to travel when particularly when you're traveling with other adults and you're not, you don't have your children with you. It's a very different than the family travel experience. But I love the sort of choose your own adventure mentality. Like, because I'm the person like you, Shelly, I'm going to go to every single show and I'm going to go regardless of whether somebody comes with me. Like, I want to see the show. So I'm happy to go by myself, but I'm also happy if somebody wants to join me. And then, of course, I want my cocktail or a glass of wine at one of the lounges before dinner. So, exactly.
Bubbly.
Yeah.
You want your bubbly, Sam.
Well, sometimes
Ears and
bubbly,
cheers.
sometimes the espresso martini. I have different days. I might want different things, but I love all of that. Well, let's dive into talking about your sea day. Was your next day, of course. I'd love to know what you guys got up to on your sea day. I know you mentioned Palo Brunch. Let's set Palo Brunch aside because I do want to. That's, of course, we got to talk about that, but I kind of want to talk about that in the context of talking about dining more in general. But yeah, what did you guys get up to on the sea, or what did you get up to on the sea day?
So it was going to sound kind of boring. I mean, it was just take
Boring
your
is
time.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take your time. It's the opposite of those family trips where you just like, go and get everybody. So it's just slowly have my coffee. I had ordered room service coffee to be delivered that first morning. And so I had that on the veranda. And just that was heavenly. I mean, I could have done that for hours, but then you're like, tick tock, now it's such a
Like, I
short
only have
cruise.
one sea day. I need to do
Right.
stuff. Right.
So I pretty much just kind of wandered. Honestly, I wandered the different decks. I like to get lost when I travel. It's just I like finding my way, and I learn that things easier that way and find things I didn't expect. So I wandered around, went to the different decks. I had done the kids club tour, so that my kids went with me sometime. But so I had done that, but just I think I got because we had a 12:30 Palo, so I ended up on the loungers on deck 13 with swimsuit and beverage in hand, and would see friends in passing or back in the stateroom. But we were and the two that had the rainforest pass, they were pretty much there. Just enjoyed. I didn't do any like games or trivia. I think I just wanted to be outside. That was just it was such the weather was perfect, literal perfection, and the sea was just glass. So, it was just so beautiful to be outside on those decks.
That's such a great way to spend a sea day. If you got the weather for it. If it's too windy, then you end up like just being inside. And then that's I think where when I'm sort of bouncing from trivia and game shows and other activities or drawing classes or whatnot. But obviously when you got great weather, you just got to take advantage of it, especially when you live in the north and you don't have great weather, not yet, at least in early May. Yeah. So that's awesome. I love that. Well, let's dive in and talk about Castaway Day then, because your next day was Castaway Day. Did you plan on doing anything at Castaway in terms of like excursions? We always tell people like they're great excursions at Castaway, but you literally don't need to book anything because it's such a wonderful beach day. But I'm curious as to what you decided to do or get up to.
Yeah, so I thought about doing some of the activities and excursions, but I kind of want to just save those for my family because I know I'm doing them when my family comes. And, anytime you're a mom or anyone that just needs a break, I just wanted to relax. So I didn't book anything except maybe just stopping by the shops. And we were up and out. My stateroom mates, is that what you would call them?
Sure, your
Um,
roommates, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
our roommates, they were early risers, and, so we were all I think we were ashore at, like, 7:15. Yeah, we were, like, first ones, it felt like, and, so we just slowly made our way to Serenity Bay and stopped at the shops, and I took photos and just took it all in, you're just like I'm just like a kid, my eyes are big, and again, the grinning and wanting to take photos of everything. It was just so beautiful. It was just really beautiful and clean and just so well done. So we stayed on Serenity Bay and had lunch there and had cocktails there and brought our chairs down by the water. And I started getting tired. I mean, because we left pretty early. So I decided to leave before the rest of them and just go back to the family side before I went on the ship and just meandered around there for a little bit just to kind of get the lay of the land.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
you gotta do
yeah,
recon for the night for when your family's with you gotta know where you wanna go and where Pelican Plunge is and where, Cookies and Cookies 2 are and where the shops are, right? Like, you gotta the family's gonna be looking at you as the pro when you bring them, yeah.
I love this phenomenon of like, because like we're experiencing this a bit with our friends Sam and Tracy, Michael, we love you, but like we've been on Virgin Voyages one time and they're both like, like
They're
what do we
both treating
do?
us like the
I'm like,
experts.
we are not the experts.
Yeah, they keep asking us questions, like, they keep texting us questions, and we're like and I'm like, "Let me Google that," like, because I'm like I'm not saying that you do know a lot
we
more than
we know a
when
lot
you
more, but yeah,
yeah,
that's we're
you
not
know a
the
lot more when
experts.
you've been on one cruise than when you've been on no cruises, but you don't know everything there is to know. Yeah.
no chance. I mean, I peppered my friends. I would apologize. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm asking so many questions. But it's like, when you're at home, you're gonna Google everything or you're gonna read about it and read every forum and thread. But I'm there. I didn't buy the Wi-Fi or what. And so I'm asking them all the questions. So yeah, it's a lot to learn, which is why these podcasts help. So I headed back. I think I made it back to the ship around 1:30, and I had heard that the spa showers were really nice and had nice hair products. So I was ready to get out of the swimsuit. That's Wearing a swimsuit all day is not my thing. So I went up and did that and showered and cleaned up and then just went to the pool deck and had some chicken strips and french fries and, just relaxed a little bit. It was nice and quiet and, kind of enjoyed that time to just take in the ship some more.
What did you think about the spa? And you mentioned earlier in the show that your friends had gotten a rainforest room pass. Did they how they like the rainforest room? Did they actually use the pass? That can also be a danger as you get the pass and you don't use it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they didn't get to use it as much on a 3-night, but they were in there a lot and absolutely loved it. One of them was platinum, so I think she's seen the rainforest room on several of the ships, and everybody just loved the Fantasies rainforest room. I almost did it, but I just thought I'm gonna wanna explore the ship more than, stay there during my downtime. So, yeah, they absolutely loved it.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, the fantasy has the fantasy and the dream both have nicer rainforest rooms than the magic and the wonder. But if you can find yourself on the wish or the treasure or soon the destiny, like that rainforest room is, those rainforest rooms are a huge upgrade to the ones in the current fleet.
I
So
definitely plan on it when my family's with me. I'll be heading up there. I love my family, don't get me wrong. So I think after the big brunch, I found myself on deck 4 a lot. Anytime we had a big meal, I would immediately go out there by myself and just walk. It just felt so nice to just be outside and walk and move after you've eaten all this food. Yeah, so I would head out there, and then I did do bingo. I don't know why, I just thought it's just such a throwback.
it's so popular. Like bingo is one of the most popular activities on these ships, which is hilarious to me because a lot of people really love that Disney doesn't have casinos on board, but everyone seems to be primed to gamble when bingo rolls out. So how'd you do? How'd you like bingo?
Oh, it was a blast, but I'm so frugal, like, I bought the minimum amount, like 3 cards or something, and so nothing happened, of course, but it was a lot of fun. I wish it would've lasted a little longer, but I was so glad I did it. It was a lot.
The tough part for me with bingo is those electronic cards now where you're just sitting there watching a screen. I mean, you can do the, the do your own cards, but But I feel like so many people are just like, my dad and I would go do bingo when we first started cruising, and Sam would come too. And we were just sitting there kind of just watching this. Ooh, it's getting and I'm like, this isn't bingo.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so
I did the
yeah.
ones where I get to actually mark it. Like
Yeah, the
that was,
blotter. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, yep. Yeah, I remember doing it with my mom when I was younger, and they had the chips, the little these little magnetic these chips that you'd put down. And the big innovation was they were magnetic, and you had a wand, and you could just run the wand over to pick them all up when you were done. So
Like
yeah,
that thing you used to make where you draw the person's face with that's what it makes me sound like, the little magnets. That's
exactly. Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah. I want to skip over to dining for a second and just sort of ask, because that's one of the unique things on Disney Cruise Lines, the rotational dining. And so, what did you think about the whole setup for rotational dining? And how'd your newly found Facebook friends like that?
So I wasn't sure if they would want, I kind of say, hey, if you guys don't want to do it, you've done all these cruises, you might not be, but they are all wanted to go to the rotational dining. One of my friends was pretty funnily, is that a word? No, it's not. But she made a big thing about there not being a sea bass in Enchanted Garden, I believe
Oh,
it was.
yeah. Yeah. I love the sea bass.
So
Yeah.
she was devastated. So that was a whole thing the whole time. So he brought her souffles every night to make up for it. But our server, but Enchanted Garden had switched to the Mediterranean menu apparently. So that's why they didn't have the sea bass, I think is what they told us. But I mean, I'm not a huge big meal eater. So that was the part that was a little trickier for me. I'm kind of a snacker. Like I like tapas, little bites all day. And so to have these giant meals, I need like a strategy now. I need to like go into my next cruise figuring out how can I enjoy these meals but not just feel like, oh, like
Totally stuffed. Yeah.
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 So I didn't really figure that out on that cruise. I just felt stuffed the whole time.
So I think part of your strategy on like the wish class is going to be you're going to have to rely on pool deck bites, I think, in order to sort of sustain you during the day. On the other ships, you've got those snack bites in Cove Cafe, like the little charcuterie type bites. That's like a helpful thing to do. But then I would say in main dining, the answer is like don't order every course, right? Like I feel like we used to order every single course, like always order, an appetizer, a soup or a salad, a main, and a dessert. And now like we've just gotten more comfortable being like, I'm only having like, nothing like looks so great that I'm going to have a salad or a soup.
But we've only gotten to that point, Sam, because we've been on like 30 sailings and we have tried almost every menu item. And so now we kind of know, like, yeah, I mean, the baked potato soup was good the first time, but the second
I don't
time
like
around
the
it's not
baked
our
potato
favorite.
soup. Yeah.
But yeah, but my
Other
point
people
is,
love it, by the way. I just don't like it.
my
Yeah.
point is, it's hard to tell people don't order every course if it's their first or second cruise because like they don't know what they're missing. Yeah.
The other option, right? Like there's that is one option. Just don't, just order 2 courses, right? Or but the other option is order every course but only take a couple bites of each one, right? Like and your servers are going to be baffled by this and they're going to think you didn't like stuff and so you're going to have to reassure them like, "No, I'm saving room
The
to have."
servers are like drug dealers. Like have more food. You want more food.
They are just
So,
afraid
yeah.
that you don't like stuff. If you don't like, we have found that like when we don't finish something, like they are questioning sometimes if you didn't, or if you only eat like a little bit of it. And so, I am not a dessert person, and I usually start out by like telling, like usually the first night I often don't order dessert and they're like, "Oh, don't you want something?" I'm like, "No, I'm really not a dessert person. Like I will fill up on the savories because the dessert's not usually my thing. It's like kind of a unique day if I do order dessert." So I think it's just like telling them, "No, I loved everything. I just like I ate a lot of stuff, on the pool deck," even if it's a lie, right? Like just say like I ate too much at brunch, right? Like that kind of a thing. It helps, I think, them not be food pushers so much. So that would be my advice. But like there are places to get like bites, or other times of day, but there aren't a lot of them if you think about it, right? Like there's like I said, there are some food in Cove Cafe throughout the day, but not on the Wish class. On the Wish and the Treasure, if you're listening, if you're going the Wish and the Treasure, there's no food in Cove Cafe, and there's no food at the other coffee shops. There's no small bites like there are on the other ships, or the older ships. But you have like a great variety of pool deck food. And so if you need like a mid-afternoon snack and, Cabanas and Marceline Market are already closed, like that's generally your only option. So, but
And
it's
I
hard.
had not thought about all of this prior, and I would have had that would have been a great game plan. It did inadvertently kind of do that on the Castaway day. I was saying I got back to the ship around 1:30, and I ended up ordering a cheese plate and for room service. And that was like, this is what I'm used to eating, so I had that on the veranda. It was perfect. And then I had like a chicken strip up on the pool deck, a little bit after that. So that's kind of my typical way of eating, just little things here and there. But so so I definitely wanted to try everything, and that's what got me
Yeah,
into
that's what
trouble.
killed you. Yeah.
Yeah, and so
It's
I know
hard to
better
pace
now.
yourself. It's really hard, especially when the food is really good. When the food's just meh, right? Like I could take one bite and be done. But when the food's really good, I want to eat like 10 bites of it, not 2 bites of it. Yeah.
And I'm a very value-oriented person, so I wanna get my money's worth. And if I didn't eat, I didn't get my money's worth. So, but I gotta let that go the next cruise, definitely. It reminds me of the dining plan at Disney World. I would eat way more food than I would ever eat because I wanted to get the value out of that plan. So,
Sam, when we were on the fantasy last time, I didn't look, but they used to in Cove Cafe do that
Yeah, the
like
little charcuterie, the
a charcuterie
cheese.
plate at
Yeah.
night.
Yes.
Like it was like a happy hour. You could get meat and cheese and some breadsticks and olives and Marcona almonds and that kind of stuff. So I can't remember if we didn't try that this time. So I don't remember. I didn't see if they were doing that still.
I'm pretty sure it's still there. It's also in the other coffee bar that's like just off what is it, on deck 4 or 5 up from the atrium. I can never remember the name of the it's like a little coffee bar. They have it there too. So they have it in both places. But that's why I was saying the only time they don't have it, or the ships they don't have that is Wish and Treasure. They don't have a place like that has those little charcuterie bites. Although you can order a grape jam cocktail at Scat Cat and get a half of a PBJ sandwich. So, but I think actually room service is a great. We always forget about room service, but because I don't like staying in my stateroom and waiting for room service to be delivered. But room service is a great option for someone who eats more spread out snacks instead of I'm a 3-meal person, so it's not as hard for me. But I
And the
do
name
think.
of the coffee bar on the Fantasy is the Vista Cafe on deck 4 midship.
Thank you. Vista Coffee Bar. There we go.
No,
So
Vista. No. Vista
Cafe. Sorry, Vista Cafe. Thank you. Vista Cafe. But yeah, they do have cocktails there as well, but they're the other coffee bar place basically on board on Fantasy and Dream. Yeah.
so right before we sailed, there was word that happy hour was no more.
Yes, that is the lower priced cocktail menu essentially. Yeah, they eliminated happy hour on all the ships, I believe. There are still some drink specials like drink of the day and things like that. And the beer token. So there are still ways to get some, discounted drinks. But there is no longer, they eliminated happy hour across the fleet. All right. Well, we've got to talk about Palo. You did do Palo Brunch. You said you've listened to our show, so you've definitely heard us talk about Palo Brunch and Palo in general. I know you didn't do Remy on this trip. If you like fine dining, I would highly recommend, because it's of course only on the Dream and the Fantasy, Enchante on the Wish and Treasure. But what did you think of the food? You're someone in Connecticut. You get good Italian food.
I also went to culinary school in my past life, but I was blown away. It was amazing, and wish I could have eaten more. Just could not. But
That is the
we
tough
were.
part.
I was sailing with very veteran sailors and listening to your podcast, and we didn't even get a pastry basket to begin with. I don't know why, but they must have known we're here for the hardcore, so we're hardcore right here. So we went straight in. We had the antipasti, and we all had the celery soup. I don't know if I needed to have it, but it was really good. And then we did the pizzas and, of course, the lasagna and the chicken parm. We stuck with those hard hitter classics, and they did not disappoint. So little quick story, I used to make risotto. I learned how to make risotto in Italy. And I used to make risotto in the catering world when I catered and personal chef. And this risotto, I mean, I'm not Italian, but I mean, it was so phenomenal. I mean, I just wanted to just bathe in it. It was just incredible risotto. So I would go back and just give me a bowl of risotto,
Of the
please.
risotto. Oh yeah. I will tell you, I never make risotto. Like I have tried to make it before, but I do not make it because I feel like risotto is actually like a really hard thing to make because you have to be really patient, right? Like, as someone who's, trained as a chef, like you have to have a ton of patience and like add that liquid in slowly over time. I don't have that level of patience. I want my pasta done fast, right? Like, or my rice done fast. So risotto, I love to eat it, but I just, not something I'm gonna make at home. And I agree with you. That's like the risotto is so good. And I never think about risotto with chicken parm except on Disney because at home, right? Like, and especially in like the Northeast, right? You don't get risotto with chicken parm. You get spaghetti with chicken parm. That's the
If at
tradition.
all. Yeah.
Yeah.
If anything. Yeah.
Yeah. If anything, exactly. And so, it's just, but
It was
it's
unexpected. I wasn't really paying attention. I kind of just said, I'll eat anything. And, I would look, but like we just kind of brought it out to the table and we all just, tried it all. But I wasn't expecting it. And it was just mind blowing.
Oh, I love that. And I always love when someone from the Northeast likes Palo too, because I feel like, you have pretty high standards for Italian food. If you live sort of anywhere like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, like you're going to have excellent pizza, excellent pasta dishes, excellent chicken parm, all that. So yeah, that makes my heart sing, Shelly. I love that. I love that. Yeah. Well, let me ask, did you get up to any of the, evening activities on Disney Cruise Line, like Match Your Mate or any of the adult game shows, those sort of things or even listen to the musicians? I mean, in all the adult lounges, obviously in the fantasy, we love Europa. It's a great, great themed spaces on that ship. I always talk about the bathrooms in Barcelona because I love them. But I'm curious whether you got a chance to go to those activities. It is a short cruise, so I would understand if you didn't.
So I don't know what happened to the time. I mean, it was just flying by. And between, the long Palo brunch and getting ready for dinner and I made it to bingo and then we always went to a lounge before dinner. And then our last night, I like after dinner, I made the rounds. Like I go into D Lounge. I went to everywhere I hadn't been and just sat in there for a few minutes. Like, okay, I was in here. Now I go in here. It was just not enough time. So everybody looked like they were having a blast. The live music in La Piazza, I believe it is. Everything was wonderful, and you just had to pick and choose because the just time was too short.
Too short. That's why, I mean, it's a perfect choice for someone who has not been on a cruise before and gets motion sick. I think a 3-night cruise is a great way to try it out. But it's like having an appetizer and eating nothing else on the menu, right? Because you haven't had a chance to try everything because there's so much to do. And that's why I always tell people like prioritize what are your must-dos because there's so much to do on board. And you're not, even on a 7-night cruise, you're not going to be able to do everything that you want to do. Now, I got to ask, since you are a parks person, did you go and do any character photos or backdrop photos? Any of that appeal to you?
I watched from afar in the atrium. The only character photo I was a part of was at the DVC member thing. Donald was there, and so that was fun, and we all took a picture with Donald. But I just didn't take up line space. The kids. I just left the lines for the kids and watched from afar. But it was so sweet. I mean, I forget what the goodbye thing that they do. Oh my gosh, that was so.
It's
I mean,
so
I
cute,
got
right?
teary-eyed so many times on that cruise. I'm a big softie, and just seeing those characters just that was such a sweet little goodbye thing.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Now, I got to ask, like, have you, I mean, I know we always like to ask this at the end, but have you thought about how sailing with your family is going to be, different, obviously, than the experience you had sailing with friends? And it's obvious to me you loved your cruise. So I don't need to ask like the question, did you enjoy it? Like clearly you did, but do you think you would enjoy it as much with the family? And what do you think sort of the big differences are? And then I'm guessing you have something booked, but I'm going to ask you that. Well, I'll wait to ask you that later because then I want to, I want to hear a little bit more about that sort of planning process.
So I I do want to take a cruise with my family. We went to so when I was deciding what to do for my 50th, we actually decided to go to Aulani, and I had never been to Hawaii. And my kids, they're wonderful, but they needed mom and dad around a lot. And so thinking about a cruise, I feel like we're at least a year more away. So my kids right now are 13, 12, and 8. And while the kids clubs are there, and I fingers crossed that they would go to them, I'm not 100% sure that they would stay in them. So I'm like, it's a lot of money, and I don't want to go all like I did all the way to Hawaii and been like, "Oh my goodness, this is a little more intense than I thought it would be with kids' needs," right? So it's gonna happen. It might be a longer than I'd like to wait till they're just a little bit older, but then again, I don't wait for anything. I mean, I like to go, 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 so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and it'll be interesting because two of them right now would be in the Edge, and then the youngest one would be in the Kids Club. And so there's also that dynamic of figuring out like, will the youngest, I don't know if your youngest is the more outgoing or the least outgoing, right? If they're the more outgoing one, they'll be fine. If they're the least outgoing one, they might not want to stay there, right? Whereas the older two, if they have each other, that might make it easier for them. But with Edge, as we've talked about with Nathan, it's a come and go as you please. There's no check in, check out like there is for the Kids Club, and so it's a different experience. If your kid is not as independent, it might not be the same experience, right? So it's good to kind of have that eyes wide open perspective. I will say, did not have that eyes wide open perspective between our first two cruises we went on without Nathan, and then our third cruise that we went on with Nathan. We had certain expectations, and it was kind of a disaster, not because of anything Nathan did, but because of our expectations and not sort of knowing what that was going to look like.
That's how we were with Hawaii. And my husband's like, we're waiting. We won't go back for 5 more years at least.
Yeah.
And I think like I sat down with a chart and like plotted out what year and how old they would be and which club they would be in. Like I had this whole little graph going or whatever spreadsheet. And I feel like, maybe the 2027 cruise, I feel like where they would be in their clubs and might work out best. So I think that's probably so when the new itineraries are released this summer, I think that goes into 27. Yeah, right. That'll go into 2027. So I have a feeling I'll be booking a family cruise for then. And I need the time to save.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so it might not go in, it might just go through the rest of 2026. It might not, I mean, it could go into very early, like New Year's Eve cruises, basically, but it is
So it might be the next drop.
It might be the one after that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know for sure because we had been told that they were switching from a 3-time-a-year release schedule to a 2-time-a-year release schedule, but we don't know for sure, right? Like yeah.
The other complicating factor is they really don't like to play into speculation about new ports and new ships and all that sort of stuff. And also, so with 2027 being the next time they'll have a maiden voyage of one of the new ships, I think they're also trying to what do I want to say? They don't want people to wait. Like they want people to book the existing ships and then they'll announce a maiden voyage and then people can move if they really want to. But
that's like DVC, the new buildings. They're not talking about Lakeshore Lodge.
Oh, yeah. You can see
they
all
want
this
you to buy
discussion
Poly.
happening.
Yeah. And Riviera
yeah.
still and
Aulani.
Villas and Aulani, exactly.
Now, our friend asked about the new Lakefront Lodge and they were like, we don't know what you're talking about. Like, There's construction happening over
Right,
there.
it's right
Like,
there. Yeah,
we can all see it.
That retirement home, or sorry,
Yeah.
former retirement. It's called Reflections.
Yeah.
Rehab/retirement home is what I still think of it. Even with the new name, I feel like it still sounds like a rehab or a retirement home. But
Well, Shelly, is there anything that we missed talking about that you wanted to be sure to share about your cruise experience here?
I think, everything was lovely. Everything met my expectations. The shows were phenomenal. I wept through all of them, even Believe. And
I love that you're looking right at me when you say that. I know.
and so, I mean, every hope I had for it really came true. I just was blown away. So it was wonderful.
Well, Shelly, I think we have reached that point in the show where I need to hand you back over to Sam, who's going to subject you to some arbitrary questions, some arbitrary rules, and a dash of judgment of the round we know as rapid fire. So, Sam, take it away.
All right, Shelly, you knew this was coming. I'm going to ask you some of your Disney favorites, and then I'm going to ask you some cruise line favorites. Your answers have to be...
Sam, as I think about this, the questions are less and less arbitrary. Like, you need to get a little bit more arbitrary.
Okay, more arbitrary. All right, fair. Well, we're going to confine this to the fantasy when we talk about Disney Cruise Line, but I'm going to just go ahead and say that your favorite ship is the Disney Fantasy, and, just leave it at that. So we're going to jump in right with your favorite Disney character. When I say Disney, that means anything and everything that Disney owns, which could include The Simpsons, Star Wars, Marvel, whatever. But who is your favorite Disney character?
I'm a softie for Mickey Mouse. He's beloved.
Yes, absolutely classic. All right. Favorite Disney movie? Same rules apply when I say Disney.
Oh my goodness.
It's so hard, right?
Yeah, it's really
like picking
hard.
your favorite child.
Yeah. Cars.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I could go with like 10. I don't even know.
Cars is a great one. All right. Favorite Disney song?
Go the Distance. Particularly, I love any version, but the Happily Ever After with the choir.
Oh, so good. So good. I hope you saw the video that we posted online that was Corey J. Bradford singing Go the Distance. It was so good. Oh my God. So he's going to be Hercules when the Destiny opens. I'm sure he'll do one contract and then he'll be off the ship because he's, Broadway guy, right? So they usually can get those folks for like one contract and then they're back on the stage on land. All right. Favorite Disney Cruise Line stage show, and why is it Aladdin? No, I'm just kidding. I mean, you had Aladdin, you had Frozen actually also, which is fantastic. But yeah, I know you mentioned Aladdin. That's why I'm guessing that might have been your favorite. And you had Believe. You had three good shows, 2 great shows, 3 good shows.
I would say Frozen. Frozen just edged Aladdin.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you. To me, it's the puppetry that takes it over the edge. Yeah. All right. Favorite onboard activity?
Lounging on deck 13 count?
Absolutely. That's Brian's answer is always lounging on the adult pool deck. So that's absolutely
it's a close tie to deck 4. I love deck 4.
Yes, the promenade is a wonderful place to lounge as well. Less sun than if it just depends on the weather, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Favorite rotational dining?
I did Animator's Palette twice. I probably go with what for food? Are we just talking about food?
It's however it could be food, it could be show, it could be atmosphere. It's a combination of all the right. It's whatever sort of means the most to you. Because some people would say it's all about the show, and other people would say it's all about the food.
They're pretty even, but I give it the edge to Animators.
Yeah. Well, and you had the Crush show on your cruise because it's just a 3-night. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, we got to talk food. We're going to talk a sweet item and a savory item, but we start with the sweets because I love the savories. So a favorite sweet item on board the ship. Now, this can be from main dining. This can be from Palo. This can be from Cabanas, whatever speaks to you.
It was the lemon icebox dessert.
Hi. Yeah. Brian loves that as well.
I love citrus. And there was some cheesecakes that were good too, but I will go with the lemon icebox.
Awesome. All right. Favorite savory item on board?
Oh dear. Probably. Oh, the risotto. What am I talking about? Yes.
It's so funny because people say the chicken parm, but they don't really give credit to the risotto that's underneath it. So
Oh, the
I
chicken
mean,
parm was perfection as well, but the
Yeah.
risotto was so
was actually the
unexpected.
star.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. All right. Okay, I got to ask you as I said, your favorite ship is a Disney fantasy, but I got to ask you the most important question, which is your bucket list cruise. If you could go anywhere in the world on a Disney Cruise Line ship, it doesn't have to be someplace that Disney sails, and it doesn't even have to be with your family. I mean, you can be sailing with friends again. Where are you going?
I'm probably going to Northern Europe.
Ooh, yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. Love that. All right. Well, thank you for playing. You scored an A++. Even though I don't agree on icebox pie because I don't like lemon, but but you gave me the right answer with Frozen. I was actually surprised. I thought you were gonna give me Aladdin. But you answered actually more correctly, which is Frozen. So congratulations and thank you for playing.
I think Sam, if people knew your true gamut of food taste, they would not allow you to recommend.
They
foods
might not
any
allow me
longer.
to rate
Yeah.
people's food
Yeah.
answers. That's
Yeah.
true.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
Fair enough.
agree.
Well,
I mean, you don't even like mustard, so that's just like
I mean, I'll eat mustard, but I don't really like mustard. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I
No
don't put mustard on
mustard,
a hot dog.
no
I put
onions.
ketchup.
She doesn't like onions. People, if you
right.
want to know her true range of taste here,
All right, Brian,
us
that's
know.
enough out of you.
All right. Well, Shelly, just want to. Oh, so go ahead, Sam.
I was gonna say you don't have a cruise booked. You mentioned
You're
that.
taking my thunder. I was just getting ready to ask.
Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead, Brian.
What's next is my question. Come on, you just had rapid fire.
So I am booked for the fall on the Magic for a 5-night on the Magic. I originally booked before I even took this cruise. I get in the panic when the price, you talk about the prices going up. So I had booked something in March and then ended up switching it to September of this year for a scheduling reason. So my husband and I are going on 5 nights on the Magic.
Oh my God! Who's watching the kids?
Oh yeah, we'll find someone.
You figure it out. You're like, I'm not worried about that. We'll get
yeah. So
I
mean,
I love that.
it's very risky.
Just do what we do. Leave some newspaper out and a bowl of food. They're good.
Yeah, leave them cereal. They're fine. They might kill each other, but they'll be all right.
Yeah. So it'll be the true test of whether all my medicines work because we're going at the end of September.
Yeah. So you're going, it is hurricane season. You may get more rough seas. Where is it? Which itinerary is it? Is it just Bahamas?
It's Nassau and both islands. So the double duo.
The duo dip. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. No, that's a great, I'm going to guess and say you'll be okay. As long as there isn't a hurricane that comes, but the likelihood of that is not super high, even in September. So yeah, I think you'll be fine. You're not going out in the middle of the Atlantic or the middle of the Pacific. So I still think you'll be fine. Well, that sounds amazing. You got to come back and tell us, maybe come back with your husband and we'll hear about his first cruise. And now that you're the pro, how you showed him around, how you gave him a tour of the ship. I will tell you, while the Magic, of course, is not identical to the Fantasy and is significantly smaller, one of the great things about it is the layout's actually very, very similar. And so, dining's in the back of the boat, the adult only areas in the adult bars are in the back of the boat and Palo's in the back of the boat. Whereas Cabanas is in the front of the boat. So it actually has a really similar layout with, of course, it's just being shorter and not as wide. So you will be a pro, even though you haven't been on the Magic. I can't wait to hear which you end up liking better after you have sailed on 2 different classes. Yeah.
Oh, I will say that I ended my trip at one night at Vero Beach. I highly recommend a little relaxation before you head home to the kids. A little extra relaxation.
That's a great idea.
Nice. Well, Shelly, we super appreciate you taking some time to share your cruise experience with our audience, and would love to have you back on after your 5-night experience to hear how it went. And for now, we'll just say thank you. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having me.